Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Downton Abbey, Season 6, Episode 3. Meredith, Alonso, the nuptials have taken place.
Boy, have they.
Not without, concomitant drama. I love the scene with, the two scenes, I guess, with Cora, where she sort of blows her stack and then realizes, oh yeah, I need to dial that back.
Here's the thing though, like, I get why Cora was upset. So
Sure.
when she comes into the room, she sees the servants trying on her clothing after a very exhausting day of fighting with Violet and everyone over the hospital. And no one really had the chance to tell her. And the way Mary handled it, she had a much better, she could have been like, oh, let me actually tell you. And she's like, oh, never mind. Like, it's no big deal. But then for Mary to go and berate her about it, like, Mary, you were just so dramatic this season. I feel like I love the chorus scenes, but my biggest issue so far this season has just been the way Mary has been handling herself. I feel like we've come past Mary, the drama queen, and she's just fallen back into those old habits.
Well, I think Mary has reached an age now where you'd think she'd be past a lot of that stuff. She's still sort of, that she's still so resentful of Edith, that she still sort of stirs the pot in these ways. It's like, lady, you're a widow and a mother, and get over it, and maybe think about your kid and your duties at the Abbey now that you're the estate manager and all that stuff.
We never see her interact with her kid. She has no motherly instincts whatsoever.
Well, that's actually probably pretty true to the era where they spend all day with Nanny and then they get a hug before dinner,
I know, that's true. But I really did appreciate, Cora, who normally is the most level-headed of them, to see that humanity come out in her, and in the way that she did go apologize to the future Mrs. Carson was released.
And again, probably a bit of a stretch in terms of how things really went down. I'm sure people were I'm sure they would have all gotten fired and not another word about it.
That would have even happened, I think, was a stretch too.
True.
So,
yeah. But no, I thought that was all lovely. The ceremony itself was very nice, and I was praising Meredith earlier for her poker face. Every time Ben would say, I think Tom's coming back this season, even though Meredith's already seen the season, she was very silent about it, so well played.
I'm just sad Ben can't be here to talk about the return of Tom.
I know.
Tom's big upstage, because let's just be honest, the wedding we've all been waiting for, it's actually Tom's moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe wait for them all to leave the hall or something. And again, like in anything that wasn't a soap opera, like there would have been letters, there would have been like, hey, I'm coming, I've made this decision, not just this sudden appearance on the big day,
I know.
But whatever, I have to say, I was on the verge of sniffles during the wedding, and then Tom and Sibby show up. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
You can even see it with Mrs. Patmore, Mrs. Carson, and Mr. Carson, Mrs. Hughes, and how they all were like, oh look, it's Tom, and everyone's like, oh, they're all over there with Tom. All right, let's all circle around the wedding couple and just ignore them and leave the family to the family affairs. Like, I loved that little acknowledgement of of course it's all about the family.
Yeah, sure. This is a big deal for you guys. We're going to carry on over here. Although Tom, of cose, occupies that weird space and that he used to be downstairs, and so anyway, meanwhile, I love the Edith's all-nighter.
Oh my
That was,
gosh, I know.
that took me back to being to working on a college newspaper, that I got to get it to the printers by 4 a.m. That was, someone was stepping on my grave.
I loved her specifically because, one, she didn't forget about her date. She did have just the decency to be like, no, let me go run down.
To show up,
make an apology. And for him to just be like, you know what? Let's go back. Let me help you. I'll bring you coffee. I'll run paper for you.
Yeah.
And just to even have that emotional support from friends and staff alone, that Edith showed herself that I'm capable of doing this. Sure, I'll hire someone else to handle handle it for now, but if Edith wanted to go and do the editor job, she could. If we could have a spin-off series after this ends as Edith in her newspaper, I'm just saying I'd be a-okay with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, because think about it. You're between the wars, so Paris, the salons are happening. This is an interesting time. Again, we've talked about this before. She's met, the Sitwell and whoever else. It's like Virginia Woolf.
Yeah.
She's a literary player, and so that's an interesting kind of atmosphere to be in. And she's sort of proven herself as somebody in the way that the episode where Mary gets mud all over her. If you're going to do these jobs, you can't just sort of be this figurehead in the way that Lord Grantham mostly was, I think, for his duration, in terms of, I'm telling everybody what to do, but I have no idea how any of this works, and really somebody else is doing the heavy lifting. Both of these women have kind of proven that no, they can roll their sleeves up and get in there, do what has to get done. And so, I think that's great for it. It's one thing for Edith to be like, "You're a jerk, you're fired," and then something else to be like, "And now I have to fix this, and I'm going to fix it."
Exactly. No, I think it's satisfying that finally she's coming into her own, and it shows in everything from her fashion to her attitude. I know her fashion alone this season has been fantastic, but it's nice to finally see the Edith hour, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm liking her as a character where I just never cared for her.
Oh, well, she was aggressively awful the first couple seasons. She was meant to be a foil and kind of a shit stirrer, but yeah, you're right. She's coming to her own.
I like it. And then I don't really know Thomas's stuff right now. I'm just kind of like, I did like that scene was a little funny when he went to go apply for that.
Oh God, that was depressing.
I know. I'm like, this is your future. Everything is going to hell.
Well, again, and that's been the theme of this season. Like, this way of life is ending, and the only people left are either the shrewd ones, like are they the Granthams, or are they the what was Matthew? The Crawleys.
Oh, the Crawleys, yeah.
The Crawleys, whatever. Yeah. The Crawleys, who are sort of shrewd enough to kind of see the future coming and trying to adjust and figure things out. You've got the people who are, cutting bait, like the ones, who had the auction a couple weeks ago. And then you've got this guy who's like the Miss Havisham, basically, of the era, who's just like, oh, they're going to come back and everything's going to be great. And so, yeah, it's very depressing. But, I mean, it's not, if you're Daisy, it's not depressing. I think she's sort of, leading us into the brave new future.
Yeah.
But
I would just say I'm glad Tom is back, because the one thing I'm not liking about Daisy's character is how aggressively progressive she is, because it doesn't fit for her. Like, I like to see her as this strong female character trying to take on everything, but the way they're having her go about it is so unlike her.
I think that she tends to operate in absolutes, and that's what's happening. And I think what we're going to find out is, as this particular storyline goes along, where she discovers that things aren't as cut and dry as she thought, and things aren't as easily solved as she thought, that's going to be a life lesson for her, and she's going to grow to be more pragmatic in the future. But at the moment, she's still very kind of wide-eyed, and she knows the problems are out there, but she still believes that there's a fairly easy fix to them.
That's fair, yeah. Because I'm currently watching the same actress as in another show, Gallivant, and she's back to the original Daisy in this, where she's kind of wide-eyed and cute and just adorable. So I miss that Daisy.
Right. Well, she's also she's a great wicked stepsister in the in Cinderella last year. Yeah, but the Thomas stuff, it's funny. It's so weird that he's so resentful of how everybody else treats him. It's like, do we need to roll clips of like the shit you pulled? Like, you're kind of a dick, and I understand, yes, it sucked to be gay in the 1920s in England, but you also are kind of a cretin, and you really like started some conspiracies that were awful, so that's why people treat you like that.
Yeah, it's like at some point you need to own up for your own actions, Thomas, and maybe just apologize and try to start a clean slate, instead of just being, Mr. Bag of Resentment all the time.
Totally. Sullen and resentful. Yeah. Oh, and of course now we have the Spratt Denker mysteries going on. If there's anybody you don't want to have dirt on you, it's Denker.
No, this is I like this little bit of addition quite a bit, because I think Denker is such an interesting and fun character to play. She's the new O'Brien in many ways.
Totally, yeah.
And even more sinister and kind of weird. And it gives Spratt something, gives him more purpose, I think.
Yeah, it's fun to see those two have something to play off each other for, and this definitely gives them that kind of plot line. So I'm curious to see how that's going to unfold.
But next week I'm really excited to see what happens between Mary and Tom, because Mary's been kind of like, this is my.
I'm running the show.
Yeah. Now Tom's back into the picture. How is this going to affect things?
True. And I mean, what else is sort of dangling at this point? I guess the whole, the hospital stuff, which I still don't care.
I know. I'm like, I just don't.
I mean, it's a metaphor for everything else, but I think the big drafty house with the crazy guy in it is a better metaphor.
I agree, but I really, really liked how Isabel kind of just went off on the doctor, and I was like, it was harsh, but it was true. She called him out on his BS right there. So.
Yeah, and again, none of this is about you not being a good doctor. It's about you not having anybody to sort of second guess you or tell you what to do.
It's all about his pride.
Yeah, so it is an issue about power. That's why every week on PBS they show the clip of Isabel saying, you want to preserve your power on over taking care of the patients, and I'm the opposite. So we'll see where that's going. We'll see what happens with Tom's return, what married life is like for the Carsons, and obviously at some point the Daisy's bubble is going to burst in terms of what Cora is or isn't doing on her behalf.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
And exams.
Oh right, exams. The learned Daisy. I'm excited.
So, all right, good stuff. I'm going to be at Sundance next week, alas. So, with any luck, Ben and Meredith will be here, and if they're not, we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll double up on what's going on. So, see you at some point.